All right, we're getting warmed up here. I like that starring music. It kind of like gets you in the mood. Perfect. It's but it ended. So now we're stuck with a little bit of you can see up in the screen right here. It's not connected to the system, so it's allowed to broadcast. I can't put it up on this screen, and I can't put it up on the MacBook. I could put it up here, but it's up over there. It's kind of like out of the way. So that's the way it is. All right. We got an emergency. This is Maryland's shirt. It came from the shipper, whoever it is. She thought she was not going to have her holiday shirt. She wanted it for today. And she's going to something tonight. Board meeting of the, what do you call it? Rotary. So Bill Morris told me about our Christmas party they're having next week. So Bill said, "You're going to go, aren't you?" I said, "Well, I'm sure Marilyn's going. The question is if she wants me to go with her." Which I don't have any doubts about. It's my health that I'm worried about. So if I can, go there and stand up and chit chat with everybody or somebody, then we're gonna go. So I told her, let's go. I know you can see it, but here's my text message to her. May not be visible to you. So I basically said your holiday shirt showed up. So you got it for your manager's meeting tomorrow, and the boat show on Saturday. And Bill and Elaine want us to go to the Rotary Christmas party next week. Okay, let's go. Make it happen. So hopefully she'll be good for that. I can't imagine the negative on that. Unless Bill may be mixing it up with some other group that we may not be associated with. But, you can always invite us. God, Maryland had a major shutdown of her phone today, which is like, it was actually last night, about 11 o'clock. It just stopped working. It wouldn't take a charge. You put it on the charger. Like here's my phone right here. I'll switch hands so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. That's a bigger one. Whoops. I don't mean that one. Watch that one. That's kind of weird. Let's see if the negative sign on this. There you go. We got rid of it. Okay, so now we can see a little better what's going on with these. But her phone went dark. When we shut the phone down, so now this is shut down. Okay, I'll show it to you. You can see my cat's eyes from my cat. So now, since I've touched it and I recognize my face, I'm sure I scare the phone to death twice a day, recognizing this face. But her phone was like, it was absolutely dead. And no matter what buttons you pushed, it was dead on the doornail. So we had a major, and I called AT&T, and then there's an old trick to start up a device, and you send a code in there, and you basically on the left side, it's got the volume control buttons, and on the right side, it's got one button. It's your off button. Boom, there it goes. So you do what's this way? You do plus, minus, and then hit the side button and hold it, and it will restart your phone from almost anything, and bring up your home screen. You got to put your password in it because it's password protected. Marilyn's phone is password protected. So that's what I did. Volume up, volume down, hold the side button. Hold it for like 20 or 30 seconds. And when you see the Apple logo come up in the middle of the screen, let go. And it will restart from almost anything. And, because it is these phones are complicated computers. There's more computing power in my phone or my watch than was in the entire Challenger space, ship. One of the others that didn't explode. It's actually the booster engines that exploded. It's terrible. When you look at the size of those engines compared to the size of the little capsule, if there's an explosion, you're like scrambled eggs. All your arteries burst. So if you were to be conscious, you'd become unconscious. You just, completely collapse, in your seat or walking around, whatever. You just go to the ground and you'd be over because all your corpuscles would have popped when you have an explosion of that shock wave just scrambles you. You have to, none of the commercially available fireworks display, those capsules, none of them have the explosive power to put out a shock wave. And you see it in the Russian films, or the Ukrainian films, I should say, where they're, where they have a missile that comes down and let's say it blows up in the front yard or the middle of a street. Well, all the buildings up and down that street, the windows just get blown out because the shock wave from that explosion is so tremendous that all the windows just forget about shattered. They get blown in. I mean, if you look at some of the destruction, all you got to do is shoot a missile in the middle of the street of whatever area you want to, destroy. Mostly, that's what you do, and the explosions are huge, and it's not enough to kill the people, but it sure does a job on all the landscaping and the front of the buildings and the windows. The windows just get completely shattered. So, because it's so cold, in the Ukraine right now. It's very cold. It's like in the, like 10 degrees or something. It's cold. You know, you can tell by looking at the snowflakes coming down. It's basically, it's so cold when humidity goes into the area of any level, it just freezes and comes to the ground. So you see all this, unbelievable. So looking at, they got the Celine Dion reveals she has a neurological disease. Okay, so she's announcing that to the world. But she had a little photo shoot in the beginning with a new, exotic gown on, which didn't do anything for me, but, her people thought it looked pretty good. So now she's getting ready to sing a song. Her voice is like, I can turn up the background noise. We all have a purpose in life, a why. Maybe they'll play that song that she's so popular with. So let us focus. Oh, that's it right there. I got the boom mic right next to the TV. See, this is a boom mic right here. It's basically not enabled. Not enabled. So it's just parked. There, it's out of the way. And it's just hanging in there. So, but I can enable it. I've noticed my dreams are better. So now we can hear that guy talking. As a special holiday offer, get $25 off plus a free fiber and spice. That's pretty good, right? Preferred order. Use discount code Fox News. So you are you eligible for Medicare? Joe Montana. So this is the screen that is working on. You can hear about TV instead of Jimmy. Let me turn that down a little bit so we don't overcome the audio presentation of today's broadcast, live in color. You can't hardly see that. There we are. It's Jimmy. I was sitting back in my chair and I lose some control over myself. So I usually get what keeps me on track of what I want to talk about. It's like, well, we just talked about Marilyn's holiday shirt, which showed up today. She was devastated it didn't show up last night. So, little formulations that I was working on. Let's see. You can kind of see this screen I'm working on. I got a few of them working on. There's a shot from the third, I guess the fifth level of this building. And you can see the street right here with the, it's the holiday parade, which is getting ready to parade. Because that was done at 7:17 p.m. from Judy. And, she's just giving us a breast of what's going on with the parade. I didn't feel well enough to go to the parade last night. Just stand out there and, you're right there, but no, thank you. I'd rather stay on my balcony and imagine. You can see this picture. How cool is it? Oh, you can't see it. Sorry. I gotta bring that up on this. There we go. Go right here. So that's. We have a bear on our balcony. I'm looking north on our balcony, and that's what we see. We have our holiday lights out, And if you look up in the sky, you can see there's the moon. Gosh darn it. There we go. There we go. See, now you can see the moon and Mars. The moon and Mars are right in visual proximity of each other. I wouldn't say they're together because they're separated by several 100 million miles. But this is a graphical presentation so that you can see what's up in the sky, and they label it so you can know that that's Mars, the red planet, and the moon, which is kind of gray, or bright white, or it's totally black and white. There's no color on the moon, but the Mars is the red planet, and there's a reason for that. And the atmosphere is strictly carbon dioxide.
I was robbed of watching her grow up.
Uh-oh, what's this?
Everyone was supposed to be able to trust.
Athena
To do just one simple
Strand's mother.
deliver a Christmas present and leave.
The mother of 7-year-old Athena stands paying tribute to her daughter after Athena was kidnapped and murdered.
Oh,
Police
God.
say by a delivery
I mean, these people that... Oh, there's the guy.
Was in the area.
Now, can you imagine? You can see it up there on the top screen right up here. That's up there. They kidnapped this little 7-year-old, and he killed her. At the minimum. God knows what else. I don't want to, or they don't want to hear what else. But they found out some. There's the little girl.
Aside from the one that police are conducting, and they're asking the public for help. That small community of Paradise, Texas, which is northwest of Fort Worth.
Somewhere in Paradise, Texas. Jeez. They have vigils and everything. Poor little kids. Stolen somehow and murdered. So that's kind of just, whenever you think you've got trouble, when you spend your life, teaching these kids whatever you can possibly teach them, if they feel like listening to you. And if you parent properly, the kids will listen. The question is, when they ride home together after they're done with dinner at our place, let's see what Marilyn says. There we go. Yeah, I put that.
Casey Siegel on that for us. Thank you.
Copy that one. So I put it on a group. It's already on there. I don't know how it ended up on the other one. So I want to make sure we're going together to the Rotary Christmas party. My phone's ringing. Oh, there's a message. You can't really see it. A message from Marilyn. Stretching. I don't know what it says.
My reaction is this. It's a year too late. He should have been fired a year ago. The school board...
That was for me, yep. Eating Marilyn. What's in here? She's got her phone. She was so devastated. She had to go to her thingy this morning, which was the Chamber of Commerce Christmas, special Christmas thing, where they serve a very nice breakfast, and they, have a marching band in there. They have someone dancing, singing, whatever. So they give you a little show, and then you have tables for 10. So you got these big round tables, and they probably got 15 or 20 of those tables. So you got 1,500 to 2,000 people in a huge room, and somehow or other, the army of servers that they have engaged to deal with a party of that size, they bring out. They're scrambling the eggs like crazy. Can you imagine? The guy making up the eggs. Oh my God, he's got eggs coming out of his ears. They got to have more than one. Because they get so many of these platters. They got the covers on them. And the dishes are warmed so that everything doesn't freeze up on them too quickly. But they gotta get that food out there. Because it gets cold. People aren't going to like it. They're not going to eat it. They're going to say, "Oh, the breakfast was terrible." They don't want you walking out of there saying the breakfast was terrible. They want to say, "Oh my God, that breakfast was really good." So, got some Cracker Barrel and gave me a little surprise today. I'll show it to you. It's a little bundle of 3. It looks like burgers. It looks like, yeah, it is. It's a little burger, and there's the meat. Hold it up. You can see the meat inside the burger. See it? Yeah, you can see it. The autofocus went right to it. The cellophane is quite effective, so I'll bend it down a little bit, and you see a piece of the meat hanging out of the burger. I hope that's chocolate and not a piece of meat, but they're trying to make it look like a burger, and they did a really good job of it. Oh my God, there's 3 more. You can see what they look like. Yeah, see, there's the meat. There's the eggs and the cheese. Oh, they did a great job. Here's a burger with like looks like chicken in it. We can get there. We go. Get it focused on there. Yeah. Looks like I need a little work on my cuticles. I hammered my finger here, so get that blood out from underneath my fingernail. Broadcasting around the world with this show. My fingernail with blood on it. I got rid of it. So now my fingers are clean on both hands. Okay. And so here's see the SR-72. It's one of the United States. This guy right here. It's one of the newest jets. It's the newest jet. See, there's an engine here, an engine over here. So, and this is a little skinny tail. Almost looks like a tail that you'd find on a Stingray. I don't know what they call this thing, but they should call it a Stingray. I don't think they have. They have. The pilots are going to know it. This is SR-72. So somehow or other you get into the cockpit, which is up here somewhere. I'm sure it's human flown. I don't think it's sort of acrobatic, automatic. I think it requires a pilot in the plane. I wouldn't be surprised if it could operate with a joystick. In Arizona, in one of those trailers where they have all the controls, operating these drones that are somewhere else around the planet with like a 0 latency. Because when the guy says, "Okay, release," the rocket, bam, you push the button, pew, that rocket has left the drone. It is flying for that target, and you can see it flying into the target, and then all of a sudden it goes, black and white because,
It was her first Christmas. It was our
there's a decoration we have on outside of our door.
I didn't know a lot about brain tumors.
Some kind of unicorn, she titled it.
I certainly never dreamed that I would be fighting for her life.
It's got some pretty cute. Maryland's got always something for the door. There is our. And
Watch her grow up.
that's Dr. Thomas Lubin. Dr. Lubin is our new, primary care doctor. Because our Dr. Stanley Weiner we had for like 23 years. He retires, and then I get stuck in the lottery and end up with, a doctor I've never seen before. He just moved here from Los Angeles, I think he said. And so we had him for like 2 years. And I'll leave his name, unmentioned by me. And then he took off. He literally just freaking, from my perspective, he just disappeared. We never got any, with Dr. Stanley Weiner, in June, he says, at the end of the year, I'm going to retire. I'm going to be gone. So, and, we were like friends because, he's been seeing us for like 23, 25 years. I mean, that's like, about all of my adult life. Anyway, so, these doctors working until Stanley Weiner was like 65 or 70. He had open heart surgery. He had, bypass surgery, I should say. 3 bypass, 3. I had quadruple. He had 3 of them. It's a very drastic procedure. There is a fatality rate that they like to not mention, because there are a number of patients that they don't come out of it. I'm surprised I came out of it. I guess I'm a stubborn bastard, and I wouldn't quit. And, but the anesthesia, they had me on the table for 11 and a half hours. Can you imagine? 11 hours where they have your chest opened up. And there's your heart flopping around beating, in the atmosphere of, it's so serious, a procedure, and they have, I don't know how many patients like me with the chest opened up because they got, people that do the prep work that get me ready for the key doctor to do the actual bypass procedures, which are drastic. I mean, they do everything to almost shut the heart down because that's the only way they can accomplish the bypass. They can't have the heart flopping around while they're trying to sew up this little artery. Someday, soon that'll be robotic. So you won't have to worry about, the manual dexterity of the surgeon. He'll be more of a spectator, supervising the robotics. So, anyway, that's our new doctor right there. Looks pretty good. It's a nice picture. He's been around a while, because I remember seeing the Rubin team when I walked by in a hallway to get to. There's Dr. Lubin, see? Tuesday, December 13th. It says it's 10:30, but I got a confirmation on the telephone. It said 11. So they moved me up to 11. It's Marilyn and I are going together, actually. And I think I got her name on the ticket. So he'll be all prepped up with Maryland statistics. There's my watch face. Interesting. You wake it up and the face turns red like that. Otherwise, it's kind of like dark. There's our balcony with the full moon last night. Say, we got a real nice balcony. Got nice visuals. Even with this building being relatively close to us, the one that's straight in front, it's not too close. You know, I mean, if you had binoculars, you could see what's going on. But, you know, it's not too close. There'll be some building where buildings will be too close. Yeah. But I imagine we're going to stay here for quite some time because it's such a, you know, moving is such a rat race. You know, I mean, it's terrible. What you got to do, you got to pack up all your stuff. And that's, there we go. Now I can see what's going on the screen. And I'm counting $100 bills. It looks like $5,000 worth of $100 bills. They're talking about solar panels. There's Marilyn's cat in Maryland, and she's looking at her phone. She went dead last night. I finally got it running at 11 o'clock today. 10 o'clock, actually. You know, if you get a lot of people to agree to put up these solar panels on your roof, you know, for all the people that have houses, that's a lot of solar panels. I mean, in theory, it could be millions of them. And if that gets subsidized, which they're talking about, there's a huge solar power that could go in the grid, you know, and they're willing to pay in California 30 cents per kilowatt. Holy crap. We're only paying 13 cents a kilowatt. So they're trying to have a big incentive to get California people to go ahead and agree to put solar panels on their roofs. Well, it's not complicated. They can measure the power that comes in from the solar panels, and it could get into the grid, you know, or used to power your house. And the way the circuitry is designed, it's designed to power your house first, and whatever you don't need goes in the grid. Why not? The grid needs any excess power it can get. So if they get enough of these homes to agree to the plan, and in 7 years, the whole system pays for itself. But in the meantime, the state agency is going to pay you. It looks like twice the going rate to entice you to sign up for the plan. I guess the state agency could change their mind and have a different, payout. But that'd be terrible. If they double, double tricked them on those solar panel deal. But anyway, going in right now, it's 30 cents a kilowatt. 30 cents for 1,000 watts of power for 1 hour. That's what a kilowatt is. That's 1,000 watts. Watt. Amps times volts equals watts. So if you got 200 volts at 1 amp, that's 200 watts. Times 1,000 is a kilowatt. So if you had 1,000 of those, coming out of your panels, then you could have 30 or 40. I figure about 15,000 watts a day out of those panels. I think I did a calculation at some point, and somewhere between 10 and 15,000 watts are generated by the solar panels every day when you have your whole roof covered with these panels. And, there's a lot of energy that comes off that sun. And those solar panels, are about 20% efficient. 20. That's 20%. That's 1/5 of a whole. So they're 20% efficient in absorbing the energy from the sun and converting it to electric energy. And they're efficient. There's a 20% efficiency factor, built in. Created by the people donating excess power to the state of Florida, state of California, whoever, into the grid. And, effectively someone from Alabama could be using your power, the excess power you created. Now they're looking at the Supreme Court blocks controversial gun law. Good for them. One thing Trump did, he put on there 3 conservative judges. I don't know what the ruling was. It was probably 6-3. That's why you got 9 judges there. And the controversial gun law that came up from somewhere, Supreme Court blocked it. So, Florida or New York or California tried to create a law or created a law, and they used that law to prosecute somebody, with their guns, with their semi-automatic weapons. I think President Biden is trying to.
Unknown caller.
Roslyn Capital. I don't think so. Not now. So, I asked for their gold book. They had a gold book. So I could talk to you. Nothing. I can answer the phone. You may not want to hear half the conversation. I have a way so you can hear all the conversation, but I have to go hunting for that wire. That's a special wire that plugs into the phone and plugs into my soundboard here from Rodecaster Pro, Roman numeral 2. And it is a great device, and I go up and down with my voice. And this is about the level right here. I got it set so it's just about where it's supposed to be. And if I hold the mic right here, I'm holding it a couple inches away from my big mouth. And, you can hear me. You should be able to hear me. And it won't overmodulate. And I got a little background noise there from the television. So that when I take a breath, you can hear what's going on there. So, but anyway, I had a delightful lunch with Bill today. There's a friend for going on. It's like 27 years. Can you imagine? 27 years. That's, almost half a lifetime. We've known each other, and we've appreciated each other immediately, because he's a real high quality developer, property owner, and he builds big stuff. That requires a $70 million loan, and that's a serious amount of money. $70 million, and 2010, 15 years ago, money rate. So 15 years later, what's 70 million worth? Probably 100 million today. So what cost 70 million 15 years ago takes 100 million to do today. It's probably more, but let's keep it simple. And so that's a lot of money. I was a commercial banker, and I worked a few deals, many deals that were 9 digits, which is a lot of money. So 3, 6, 9, eight digits. Some the Joe Robbie Stadium, we built that. I got my name on that one. I was the senior lending officer. Now they had senior credit officers on the deal that were in the main office in Miami, but my office at the time was in Tampa, and I was the guy that had to sign off on Joe Robbie Stadium. How about that? Oh my God. 26,000 car parking lots all around it. 26,000 cars. So, you got to add them all up, so you got a lot, AA, AB, AC, AD. You go through the alphabet a couple of times, and you got all these parking lots, probably 100 different parking lots surrounding this the stadium, and then we built the stadium, of course. And it was a huge deal. I brought in 5 participant lenders, like Bank Boston and so forth, big banks. That was, Marine Midland Bank, I think, took a piece. We had 5 big banks, Citibank. We led it. We kept 20 million of it, and we laid off these $10 million, $20 million chunks. So we had 5 $20 million chunks. That's 100 million. And then we had our Southeast Bank, which is who I represented, took 20 million. So I made 120 million, and that matched up dollar for dollar against the bond deal, the amount of the bonds that they sold to private investors, public and private actually, and that's how that was done. That was takeout source. So as soon as I got a certificate of occupancy, the what is known as the CO, oh, there's Roslyn Capital again. I think I'll send him a message. And I can't talk right now. There we go. Send him a text message. How about that for some fancy thing? Yep, I got like 5 different answers that you can put on the phone. I mean, you know, my phone number, 4561 416 1100, is all over the place. You know, I used to shoot, you know, I was shooting. I'm currently still shooting. You know, FAU sports, FAU football since, you know, for 21 years. So my name and number is all over the website. And, you know, I've handed out, you know, 10,000, probably more business cards to, you know, individually to people as you take pictures. I mean, I've got 50,000 pictures. Can you imagine? 50,000 pictures. That's a lot of pictures. Let's see if I can show you this side. Come on. Let's get back. There we go. See right here? I got that's my logo I created 50 years ago. I don't know if you can see it. It's up here, right there.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, I think you can understand his disappointment. I think we all had perhaps inflated hopes when
I can get rid of it. I can make me small. Let's see how we do this. We're experimenting here. Crop split. Let's see if I do this again. Yeah, see, it'll make that bigger, but you can't see. You can't see that part. There you go. You see that right there. Wilson Picks. You see that camera thing in the middle? So I had a graphics artist team working behind me in the suite of offices that we had, you know, 50 years ago. Imagine. Oh, God. And they created a skeleton. I created a skeleton of a camera, you know. So you have a lens looking thing here, and then you have a film back there, you know, film pack like you have on a Hasselblad camera, which I happen to have at the time. And then, you know, some little slots in the middle. Anyway, that's how that logo was created. Oh, there it is. See, there's a bigger one, so you can see that. See right there? I keep zooming in on it. There we go. There's my phone number, 416-1100 with a hyphen.com. Quality digital imaging. There's the camera looking thing. So there's like the lens shade. There's the lens. There's a, you know, and there's a film back, and you got it like a tripod. So that's the man. I put it in a circle there and had the wording all around it. And this particular page counts at 74,000. But I can tell you, let's go down here. You go to the bottom of this page. Jeez. Look at that. 26,404,925. Now, if I reload this, 925, remember that number. I reload that page again because we went somewhere else in this site. It went to 926. Anyway, 26 million unique, 26 million people from 1990 in the last 22 years. That's when I reset the counter, you know, this counter and everything, well, this web design, which is Jimmy's design. You got all these. Yeah, look at Maryland right there. Executive portfolios. There's this Native American over here. Oops. So now we're in a Native American. Look at those two beauties. Yep. So I try to take interesting pictures. You know, all the shading in here is just so perfect. Really did a good job on these photographs. This is some flame that's underneath this guy. He stayed there for too long. It was definitely Bernie time. But I had to take the picture, you know. You guys working for a living. These are different tribal events. I remember doing this. I put this whole picture on a ceramic tile. There's a product I have on my website where you can put pictures on ceramic tiles. And there was a time where, you know, every month or so I'd create 5 of those tiles, and then they get sent to me, and, you know, I put them up on the kitchen counter. I got them, we don't have them around the kitchen counter, so they're stacked up somewhere. So I'm going to go home because we're not interested in tribal events right now. And there's the 15th Annual Concours d'Elegance, February 2022, noon. And look at those two schleps. No, Maryland's fine. But, oh my God, I look terrible. Jeez. Let's go home again. These sites are super fast. Look at that. Maryland's with, see if we can get that expanded, moved over. Maryland's with Jay Leno. He was in a forced march going across this car show thing. And I had my camera and everything all set up, and you know, he doesn't exactly stand up, walk around, and if you want to take a picture, have at it. I had to block him. I mean, it wasn't a football tackle, but I had to run. I ran past him, you know, and I mean, maneuvering my way through a crowd rapidly, more rapidly than he was maneuvering his way through a crowd. And I said, Marilyn, you go after Jay Leno, and I'm going to go around in front of him and then come back with my camera at him. And then you can say, may I have a picture with you? And then I'm going to be right there, and boom, we take the picture. And then we can say hello and let him go. You know, and that's exactly what we do. Say hello and let him go. So, see, here's part of the car show right here. And I call it unique events. So I got, you know, several hundred pictures in this category. God knows how many pictures. Lots of pictures. See all these pictures. And it's this part is done, you know, they have on Friday, they have an event in the hangar. They have what they call a hangar party. Turn her down a little bit. So the hangar party is on Friday night, and then on Sunday morning, they have the car event. And Saturday night, they have a special gala dance thing, you know, with entertainment, a comedian, whatever. That's where Jay Leno was there because he was going to do a stand-up routine, which is really quite good. I mean, you laugh your ass off. It's amazing how these guys can put stories together. But you see how, look how gorgeous that picture. That looks like something that'd be on a postcard somewhere. You know, tens of thousands of them. And I use this as the key photograph and put that type on there, the Boca Raton 12th Annual Concours d'Elegance, February 25th, 2018, Boca Raton Resort. It's actually on the driving range, but in that case, it's driving like a golf ball. But we're driving cars now, so it's. But that is the driving range of the golf course. And they shut it down for the car show. And we were just sitting up there in the shade on the side of this mountain, this hill, I should say. And, oops. No, I don't want this. I can now close it. Yeah. I don't think we want this. So, that's how that picture was captured. And then you got all these planes that are actually in the airport. Look at those planes. Unbelievable. So I pick an interesting shot where I can put captioning on it, which is used as the key photograph that entitled the whole category of photographs. Here's I took this picture right through this antique car, which is made, in 1920 or something, and that's the 8th annual. So now we're up to 23rd annual or 22nd. So, see, there's the 10th annual. This is the 8th annual, and they shot right through there, and I got the Boca Tower. It's right in there to make that the money shot. The shot I used to house those photographs. Here's a picture of, a friend of mine, his wife, and they live in this is an apartment, which they've decorated with this stuff, artwork and so forth. And, that's Joe up there in 930, apartment 930 upstairs. We're 812 on the 8th floor. It's 2-story, and I'm not a big fan of the 2-story. I don't like stairs. I don't mind going upstairs. I don't like going downstairs. Going down, it's hard on my knees. I'm a toonie fish. I'd like to keep it that way. So here's Marilyn with her friends. This is a high school reunion, 2011, according to, whoops. I touched something. I want to go back. Go back that way. There we go. Back where we were. So these are all separate events. So you touch any one of these. This is 2006. This is Maryland 2006. Look how happy she is. There's Maryland. So, I can just touch her and the whole photograph comes out. Look at that. That's a beauty. She is a beauty. And we just reversed. Let's see how we did that. I don't want to get trapped. There we go. So now I go. And you can see this is some kind of, I'm going to say a birthday party for somebody or anniversary, something. So they wanted someone to take pictures, so I took pictures. I just gave it to them. I don't think I charged them anything. So I took pictures. I said, Marilyn, let's get out of here. So and he goes, yeah, she knew a few of the people. I knew nobody. But I took the pictures. So you go through these photos of 2006 at 3 p.m. It's a barbecue that they were having. North Boca Barbecue. April 8th is some kind of a club. Marilyn was in some kind of club. Anyway, we're just going to come back this way. There we go. We're going up the tree. So then you got all these events. But look how cool this is. You know, this is the cockpit of a jet. It may be the. Oops. What did I do? I created this. Oh, I got two of them. We just. You got the ability to squeeze them over. I just squeeze them out. There we go. Let me shrink this down. If you're too fast with the fingers, this thing will. See, this is a picture of like a thing that's on top of the radiator on a car, an old car. So I used this gold medallion thing to. See, this is the 15th annual concourse. The 14th. I used it for like at least 3 years. Here's the 13th, 14th, and 15th. I used the same, thingy. That's basically a hood ornament on a car. And this is. I gotta go back. There we go. This is the jet. I'm causing that with my fingers. You touch the screen, and man, it really reacts really quickly. I got a very fast internet connection. I got 1,000,000 bits per million bytes per second router. That's doing a very good job today. So look at that picture of the cockpit. That's a Honda jet. See, it says Honda jet. So that's the cockpit of a Honda jet. They've since changed that out, or at least you can get the Honda jet with a joystick instead of this steering wheel kind of yoke arrangement. And Tesla is putting this yoke configuration in their cars now. It looks really cool when you see the cockpit of this electric cars that he's selling. I mean, it makes them so compelling. And when you get in the car and you start driving it, it just works. I mean, I've had this car for almost 10,000 miles, and you don't have to bring it in for service. There's nothing to do, unless something breaks. And then they go in and they fix it. And I have one little panel on the driver's side down under the seat that isn't, it's like collapsed off the frame of the seat. So I got this little plastic thing that's, it's about an inch out of whack. I took a picture of it. It's nothing exciting, to show the service people. They said, "Oh yeah, no problem. We'll reattach that." So, and it's as simple as that. So this is 416. See up here, 4161100.com with a hyphen. You can have the hyphen or not have the hyphen. I've got both of them going to the same place. You actually have to create the URL and then have it go to the same place on the site. So that way, Amazon started doing that because people, when they type Amazon, they have it Amazon instead of Amazon. They'd have an M in there instead of an N. And so they have both. You can mistype Amazon.com and it will still go to Amazon.com. Even though if you used an X instead of a Y or whatever, Y instead of an X, because you got Amazon. So sometimes people, misspell Amazon. and they have all the misspelling possibilities with their URLs, and they create them, and they just forward that link right into Amazon. So you can make a typo, and it's still going to go to the right place. So I did a little bit of that logic, and I had 416 without the hyphen, 4161100.com. That's how you would say it. But if you wanted to get the site address, the direct site address is 416-1100.com. I do not have 416.1100 because you're not allowed to have a dot before the .com unless 416 is actually a server. And then the 1100 is the URL going into the 416 server, which is then part of the 416 hyphen. It gets really complicated. So no dots in between. You use a hyphen with a phone number. And I have it so that you can leave out the hyphen if you'd like, but don't put a dot in there because that'll really, it won't work. It'll give you some error messages. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And there's McCallum talking away to Representative Jordan. He's a tough cookie.
Getting the facts out there is the first step into stopping this from happening.
See up there on your screen right here. That's what you're hearing.
That's part of our duty. So we're going to do it in a way that's consistent with the Constitution. We're going to do it aggressively, but we're going to get to the facts here. I mean, I also wonder, by the way, if those 51 people who signed, Brendan Clapper and all these folks, were they talking to Jim Baker when he was at Twitter? They probably had to talk to him while he was in the government just a few months before. So I want to know if that conversation happened and what was in that conversation.
Okay, I need a really quick answer, but is Kevin McCarthy going to be the next Speaker of the House of Representatives?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're working hard to bring our team
There we
together.
go. We bring that back to where it was.
Okay. Jim Jordan, Congressman, thank you very much. Good to see you today. So there are 5 House Republicans who are threatening to torpedo Kevin McCarthy's bid to become House Speaker, including Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs.
Here's the deal. We need to make a change in trajectory and change of path, change in process, change in procedure, change in policy.
They don't have this stuff overlapping itself.
With the
Okay, so let's.
leader at the top.
I got some pretty exciting
Kevin McCarthy joins me here
electronics going on with our little studio here in downtown Boca Raton, Florida.
All across the country,
This is
people
the
are working hard
visibility
to
of
build a
this.
future. So we're hard at work, helping them achieve financial freedom.
Our lighting
Providing
is
greater access to investment with low-cost options to help maximize
from
savings.
sitting,
From the plains
and
to
with the view
coast,
of this
we
camera,
help Americans invest for the future and help
it's not that
communities
pretty.
thrive.
If I were to tilt this up
Invested in the future
a little
of
more, you
America.
can see.
BlackRock.
You see all that garbage? But, BlackRock has some
I was born in China and was born
really
without my
nice
left forearm.
advertising.
It was
They're
kind of
spending
a surprise
a
that
lot of
I was
money
gonna have a heart defect and also
because
no arms.
these television spots aren't, they don't give them away. You gotta buy it.
With my polio, I have tough days and my pain just pops out of nowhere. All the doctors are all so nice.
The people at Shriners Hospital aren't like other hospitals.
Most people think, oh, it's the medical side of things at Shriners Hospital, but for me, it's the confidence
We,
that I've got.
the Shriners,
For the first time in my life, it felt amazing.
I can Irish step dance and I can ride my two-wheeled scooter, what I couldn't do before in Shriners.
Mel and I
Hospital.
donate
When somebody sees these commercials,
every month
there'll be a phone number on
to the
screen.
Shriners
All we
Hospital.
have to do is call that phone number and
It's
make a
automatic.
donation to Shriners to help kids like me.
Your money that you
And the other half of our money that we've allocated for charities goes to T2T.org, Tunnels to Towers. But you don't need to spell it out. You just use
Being encouraged constantly by them.
T2T, so number 2, T2T.org, O-R-G, instead of com, O-R-G, plus this organization. And then you go right to, you know, the place. And so this is Love Shriners. So we donate to Shriners hospitals. You know, the St. Jude, Danny Thomas, basically the Danny Thomas hospital that he started 50 years ago or more. And so we donate to them. You know, they're very selective on how they put their patients in. You can't just walk in there like a regular hospital. You have to be selected from around the country because of the nature of your ailment. And they, you know, they characterize and decide, and they have a panel of people and all this stuff, and decide if you're going to be accepted to the Shriners Hospital. And if they do accept you, everything they do for your child, let's say, is free. They don't send you a bill. And when you come to visit your daughter or son or, you know, your youngster that's been admitted to the hospital, they put you up in a place and they pay for your travel and your room. So it's really, it doesn't cost you anything to go visit your kid, except for your, you know, when you eat out, I guess you have to pay for that. That's all you have to pay for.
Martha, here's the key. The winning candidate must secure an outright majority of all members.
This is what's going on in the House of Representatives.
Opponents contend 20 members oppose his bid for Speaker.
So they're going to have a vote,
Kevin McCarthy doesn't have 218.
you know, January 3rd, all these new congressmen and the old ones, but the new ones and the old ones that make up, you know, this
Let's run the math in a
335.
The House starts with one vacancy. The GOP will have 222 members next year. If all 20 McCarthy opponents vote present, that means McCarthy only gets 202 votes. If all 212 Democrats vote for Hakeem Jeffries, he becomes Speaker. Jeffries secured an outright majority of all members who voted for someone by name. Now, it's unlikely that will happen. They call the roll alphabetically. Sometimes people who say they will oppose a candidate for Speaker get cold feet.
If your last name begins in a W, that's different than your last name begins with an A. Because those guys that are in the front of the alphabet, they're walking the plank. And they don't know if W is going to stick with them or not. And so that's the problem that some of these guys have.
We often say it's about the math, but this is about parliamentary algebra. You don't know the number needed until the vote is complete. It's not necessarily 218. Martha?
Thanks for clearing that up, Chad. Thank you very much. Joining me now, House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy.
Oh, God.
So when Chad does that report and he runs that math and he talks about Hakeem Jeffries becoming the Speaker of the House, what's going on? Are you getting butterflies over there?
No, we will get there. Look, we had our primary where Andy Biggs ran against me just a couple weeks ago, and we won 85% of the vote. I think what's happening right now is negotiations. That people want to see certain changes, and we're working through that. And we'll get there. I mean, think for one moment, especially from a Republican Party. In the last two cycles, the Senate has lost seats, the governors have lost seats, the president lost seats. The only entity to win has been the House. Our goal was to stop Biden's agenda, win the majority, and fire Nancy Pelosi. We did all three of those. We have to come together as one because it's a small majority. It's the same size majority the Democrats have. But if we can't come together on that opening day, no investigations, no subpoenas, no repealing 87,000 IRS agents, no becoming energy independent, no securing the border. I think that's more important than sitting and squabbling with one another. We need to find a way to govern together. Otherwise, the American people will not give us the majority.
So you hear Chad talking about 20 people potentially, and there's 5 names that are out there already who say that they won't vote for you, and then they say that there's an extended list that is bigger than that, who also won't do that. You could get 20 people who vote present, and that knocks the number lower.
That's interesting.
Majority. Ro Khanna came out and said he's willing to vote for a Republican.
It's
he's
very
looking for a
complicated.
unity candidate.
All right, so we've been,
Question would be there.
you guys are probably,
Concessions would that Republican make with the
it's just
Democrats to get their
very
votes?
interesting to hear some of
Those
this.
subpoenas are signed off on.
You know,
So think about
when you watch the news, it's, what I just did is I,
important that Republicans
see, I
find a
turned
way
up
to come
the
together.
voice
How are we going to be able
so
to
you
govern
can hear what's
together?
going on
I
that
know this is
TV
a lot of
channel.
intrigue, and I know this is the same
That
thing that
microphone
happened
is picking it
last
up
time we picked the
beautifully.
speaker when the Democrats picked the speaker.
So
It
we're
just didn't
talking
work, but I think at the end of the day, we'll find a way all to
almost
come
equally. This guy's
You know,
pretty
you
good.
talk about the things that could be
He's really good.
maybe they say, you know, we're not going to
You know, he's like a
maybe they say we're not going to do
regular guy that you know can talk with a microphone. You know, Nancy Pelosi is like, you know, she's scatterbrained. You know, I don't know. She's a crazy lady. She knows exactly what she wants to do, but she can't express it. Now she waves her arms all over the place. It's interesting to watch her speak. But when you try to, you know, you're sitting there, you know, like Jimmy, with a yellow pad, you know, wanting to write down what she's talking about, you know, some outline of what she's talking. You're when she's all done, you got a blank piece of paper. Because you know, it's hard to. So right now, the balance of power in the House is 221 to 213. That's 434. We're missing one. Anyway, so it'll go on. You know, they get sworn in on January 3rd. So you've got a couple of weeks before that. So in that couple of weeks, they're going to be negotiating out because when they come to a vote, McCarthy wants to have the vote. Now you got these 5 people, 6 people, 7 people that want to maybe throw their hat in the ring. Well, that's so fine. That's fine. He's an experienced parliamentarian. He knows the rules, and you got to know the rules really good. And Kevin, he knows the rules. He knows what he can do. He knows what the agenda is. And General Jack Keene's coming on soon. He's a beautiful guy too. You really know what he's talking about. Some of his other guys, you know, the president, head of the Pentagon, he's the word salad. You know, he comes up with a 20-minute speech, and you know, it's a bunch of gobbledygook. It's terrible. But Jack Keane, he is on the spot. He tells it like it is. If I was in the White House, he'd be one of my senior advisors because he pays attention to what's going on, you know, from what's going on militarily, you know, all over the planet. You know, I'm looking if I know what goes on, you know, across the street from me. But Jack Keane is tuned in with advisors and people that he knows. You know, he's a retired, you know, multi-star general, so he knows what's going on. and where it's happening, because he's got people in all these ranks that tell him what's going on, and they trust. Jack Keane trusts them, and likewise, those people trust Jack Keane. So he can get real information from all over the planet. He's a unique person because there are just a few people that actually can speak, about what's going on all over the planet. So that's what's coming up with Martha MacCallum. She's a sharp operator. So operating this clock from 3 to 4 goes at 4 p.m. It's a different show, and I think it's. Oh, jeez. You got the Chinese meeting with the Saudi Arabians. Oh. There's a combination, huh? One guy's, Xi is a smart cookie. He's got a country of 1.35 billion, with a boy, billion people. We have 330 million. So his country, from a head count of people, is 5 times bigger than our society. Now you can say, "Oh, they're all in jail." They're not all in jail. Come on. The politics is he's sitting in the seat, so he's convinced his people on the way in which they decide. You got all these generals that all were people at one point in time, and they're in the Communist Party. Now, it's not like our system at all, because our system is, some, fakakta form of a free voting system, so you don't have people standing at the polling things with guns, scaring the people. So we have, people can vote, and you have, several candidates, and you pick who you like, and you mark it off on a sheet of paper, and then you give it to. So I was a poll worker a couple times, so you give it to me, and we put it in a scanner, and it scans it. Or now they want you to let the person put it in the scanner all by themselves, so that's fine. I angle it over towards them, and it's this big scanning machine. Whoosh, sucks that sheet right out of their hands, and reads all the dots and dots that are on there. And it's relatively reliable. I've never had a jam of any sort, but they have procedures. We go through 6 hours of training on the DS200. The DS200. So reliability factors, at least in my polling location, is 100%. No jams. Nothing has gone into there's a separate little bin where the pages go that don't make it properly through the scanning system. If you line that paper up, it's not cardstock, but it's it's not as thick as this paper. This is what came in with my shoes. The Vessi check. Yeah, this is a little stiffer than the paper. Let's see, how about this page? It's pretty much like this. So it's this looks like a card, Vessi. So this is, except it's like 11 by 14, so it's bigger than this. but it's probably this weight. 80-pound cardstock, I'd call it, or 100-pound cardstock. So it's not, completely floppy like a sheet of paper that comes out of a copy machine, which is 20-pound paper. We're talking 80 or 100-pound stock, using the vernacular that the paper people use. Okay, so with that, we'll call it a day, and hope you have a good, this is Thursday. You got one more day, and it's time to wrap it up, for the weekend. Yeah, it's very nice. I got this little scrolling message thing down here. Very cool. And speed it up, slow it down. I got it going at a nice slow speed. So you can, if you want to call in, you can see the phone number there. Here we go. Finish. So you all have a nice time. So maybe I'll see you Friday. Good night from Boca Raton, Florida.